Hi everybody. Today lecture is about capsules, preparation and formulation consideration. This lecture is based on the reference of ANSOS, Pharmaceutical Dosage Forms and Drug Delivery System, the 11th edition, chapter 7. After taking this lecture, students should be able to describe process of compounding capsules, select appropriate excipients for compounded capsules, select appropriate capsule sizes, label capsules, describe functions of ingredients in compounded capsules, validate capsule weight and balance for compounding, calculate a compounded capsule prescription. In order to facilitate you with the big picture, here's the lecture outline. First, we will learn about recommended process of compounding capsules. 2. Minimum weighable quantity. 3. Needs of diluent or filler. 4. Common diluents of filler. 5. Capsule capacity. 6. Selecting capsule size. Rule of 7. You will learn some example about selecting capsule size using rule of 7. Then capsule weight. Selecting a capsule size is compromised. Symbols on prescription order for capsules and calculations in cases. In compounding capsules, these are the recommended process. First, the pharmacist will receive and validate the compounding prescription, then design the appropriate dosage forms, in this case a capsule, and appropriate route of administration, normally oral, then determine the capsule size. The pharmacist can use different rule or formula to calculate the capsule size. Determine the compounding method, determine appropriate ingredients, supply, and all equipment. Calculate necessary amount of ingredients. Set up the compounding procedure and fill in the formulation record or similar document for necessary information. Weigh ingredients, compound the preparation, validate or do quality control for the final preparation. Package the final preparation and label. Dispense the final preparation with consultation, and finally complete the compounding record for reviews or future reference. Before we go to the content, let's have some review because content weight variation validation is important in compounding capsule. First, you need to know about minimum weighable quantity. Most pharmaceutical products allow for a tolerance of only 5% error or less, so minimum weighable quantity equal to sensitivity of the balance divided by percentage error tolerated. For example, a balance has sensitivity of 10 mg, then the minimum weighable quantity will be equal to sensitivity is 10 mg divided by percentage error tolerated, and commonly is a 5%. So 10 mg divided by 5%, it will be equal to 200 mg. So that means for any balance with a sensitivity of 10 mg, the minimum weight you can use minimum weighable quantity is 200 mg to ensure that the error will be maximum 5% or less. As we know, in making a compounding capsule, the diluent or filler is the most important, especially when the amount of drug is not enough to form the volume in the capsule. Here is some property or some rule for the needs of diluent or filler. If the amount of powder for each capsule is less than the minimum weighable quantity for the balance being used, an inert solid diluent must be added to the active powder ingredients to get a desirable weight per capsule. So that means because the amount of drug usually is small, and if it's too small, it's under the minimum weighable quantity, you need to add some excipient like diluent to make the quantity more than minimum weighable quantity, so that when you weigh the error will be less than 5%. Because the smaller capsule sizes, numbers 4 and 5, are difficult for some compounders to handle. If the quantity of powder is more than the minimum weighable quantity, but is so small that a size 4 or 5 capsule shell is needed, diluent may be added so that a larger capsule size can be used. That means if you need to compound capsule, usually the size larger than 4 or 5 are more recommended because 4 or 5 is very small, may be difficult, especially for manual punching. So in this case, if you want to increase the size of the capsule, you can increase the size of diluent. Occasionally, the amount of powder per dose does not fit properly in any given capsule size. It is too much powder to fit in one size but gives a void space in the next larger size. If this occurs, an inner solid diluent may be added to adjust the powder volume to the larger size capsule. When hand-filling capsules, a well-packed diluent may be added to a crystalline or granular powder to improve its ease of packing. Lactose monohydrate, that means the non-spray dryer variety, and cornstarch are two diluents that work well for this purpose. So for this case, like in case you use a hand-filling capsule machine, the packing of the excipients and of the diluent and drugs is very important. So if you have a choice, or if you have the materials in stock, you should select crystalline or granule powder because it's easier for pack. In case you don't have crystalline or granule powder and you have lactose, you select the lactose monohydrate and cornstarch as a diluent. So this one will improve the packing process. Common diluent fillers. In general, lactose is the most commonly used and available as a monohydrate under two forms. It can be regular and spray dry. The regular lactose monohydrate packs well, but it does not have particularly good flow property. Spray dry lactose monohydrate has been modified through processing to give a powder with improved flow characteristics. Anhydrous lactose is also available and it too has good flow property. Spray dry lactose monohydrate and anhydrous lactose are good diluents for capsule filling machine. In case the patient is intolerant with lactose, so diluent should be changed to another one. Microcrystalline cellulose is a good choice. Microcrystalline cellulose has been used successfully as a diluent for capsule filling machine. It is a free-flowing powder classified by the NF as a tablet disintegrant and tablet and capsule diluent. This one again used to replace lactose in case the patient cannot consume lactose. Some granular materials such as sodium carboxyl methylcellulose (CMC) have good flow properties, but depending on the other ingredients in the formulation, they may change the dissolution and absorption characteristic of the drug. Unless specifically called for, natural and synthetic gum powders should be avoided as diluents because they may form thick viscous barriers around the drug particles when exposed to the aqueous fluid in the stomach and may prevent the drug from being released from the dosage form. If flow is a problem, one recommendation is to add a small quantity, about less than 1% of magnesium stearate as a lubricant. In this one, we have to improve the flow property. However, if you use the magnesium stearate because it's very hydrophobic, it can reduce the dissolution of the capsule. Wetting agent is need to be included to improve the drug dissolution. This is the general example of capsule size and the amount of several specific ingredients. And remember, capsule size using for human being had a range from 000, 000 to number 5. The bigger number, the smaller size. The larger is size 000 and the smallest size is a 5. About capsule capacity. If you have a single capsule ingredient and that ingredient is a representative substance in the tablet, select the capsule size directly from the table in the previous slide. Because most formulations are mixtures, selection of a capsule size usually requires judgment and sometimes trial and error. Try to pick a representative substance in the table that has density similar to that of the ingredient in your formulation that is present in the greatest quantity. If you do not know this information, pick a capsule size that best fits your powder weight for the greatest number of representative drugs and chemicals. This means if your formulation is not in the table, with example, you pick up the sample or the example of the ingredient that has closest density with your drug. In selecting a capsule size, you want the smallest size that will produce a few capsules with no void space. For this reason, if your ingredient weight falls between two weights on the table, try the smallest capsule size first. However, please remember that loosely packed will improve the bioavailability. You can select the smaller capsule size, but make sure that it's not like too tightly packed. Another simple rule to roughly screening or see in selecting the capsule size is the rule of 7. What's the rule of 7? When you have the amount of the weight, amount of the powder, total powder including API and excipient, when you know the weight of each capsule, you convert the weight of powder per capsule to grams. Remember, 1 gram is equal to 65 milligram. You convert the milligram or gram into gram. Then you have the number of grams. You subtract the number of grams from 7. Match the result with the following listing. After subtracting the number of grams from 7, if the result number is -3, choose the capsule size 000, the largest one. If you have negative, select with the 3. That means you see the hint here, 3 number 0, so 000. -2, you have 2 0 here. -1 or 0, you select 0 size. +1, you have size 1. +2, size 2. +3, size 3. +4, size 4. And +5, size 5. If the size you calculate fall between here, you can start with the smallest size. This example of rule of 7. For example, you have prescription cinnamon 65 milligram, lactose QS 325 milligram. So in this prescription, the amount of cinnamon 65, and you add lactose to add sufficient amount of 325 milligram. So the total amount of capsule is 325 milligram. What is the capsule size? The total amount of capsules is 325 milligram. Then you convert milligram into grams. 325 milligram is equal to 5 grams. Then subtract from the 7. 7 subtract 5 equal to 2. From the table, the capsule size is size number 2. In weighing capsule, remember the weight of capsule in general. If you say the weight of capsule is equal to the weight of API plus the weight of excipient plus the weight of capsule shell. This means the weight of a single individual capsule includes everything in the capsule. If we say the weight of powder, does mean equal to the weight of API plus the weight of excipients. The weight of powder doesn't contain the weight of capsule shell, remember, only including the powder, API, and excipients. Remember that selecting a capsule size is compromise. That means after your calculation, it depends if you say the capsule is too tightly packed or it's loosely packed, you can adjust, like it can increase or decrease one size. For best bioavailability of the powder, a loosely packed capsule is preferred because the powder disperses easily as the capsule shell dissolves. However, when filling capsules individually by hand, it is easier to fill capsules that are slightly packed because as you fill a number of capsules to a given weight, your fingers will be able to sense the packing pressure that corresponds to the desired weight of capsule ingredients. This makes it easier to achieve the appropriate capsule weight with a minimum number of balance checks. You do not have this sense of pressure with loosely packed capsule. If the amount of powder per unit necessitates a capsule size that is too large for the patient to swallow comfortably, divide the powder per dose in half and put each dose in 2 capsules. The number of capsules dispensed is then doubled, and the direction for you change to double the number of units administered. So in this case, that means if necessary amount of capsule to put in 1 capsule, you have to, because of large amount, you have to very large capsule size. For example, you have to use a double zero size. But for this patient, it's difficult for him or her to swallow the double size, and you want to reduce the size. In this case, instead of make 1 capsule with a double size, you can change to just like 0 size. The smaller like 0 size, but you divide into 2 capsules. So in this case, if the originally is a 1 capsule and you pack in large capsule, so you can say take 1 capsule every 6 hours, for example. So because you change to 2 capsules, then you have to adjust the administration instruction. You have to change to take 2 capsules every 6 hours, because now your 2 capsules contain the amount equal to 1 capsule in the original plan. On the prescription order of capsules, in case the prescriber wants you to use certain color or number, they can have some symbols. The size and color of capsule used for compounding a preparation should be written on the prescription order or included on the compounding record. This will ensure that any refills are prepared with the same capsule size and type. When this information is recorded on the front of the prescription order, the number of the capsule size is usually written inside triangle, and the capsule color is recorded beneath the triangle. For example, capsule is a 2 yellow. This means the capsule size is size number 2 and the color is yellow. Okay, we just learned about the concepts of special consideration in preparation or compounding of capsules. Now we will go to the exercise with a calculation practice and case study. Remember, calculation is a very important part in compounding, because any wrong calculation can lead to ineffectiveness or toxicity to the patient. So in calculation number 1, if 200 capsules contain 500 mg of an active ingredient, how many milligrams of the active ingredient will 76 capsules contain? This one is, you can use a proportional method. Like for 200 capsules, you contain 500 mg of an active ingredient. So if you have 76 capsules, how many will contain the ingredient? The second example, how many tablets should be dispensed from the prescription below? You see Vicodin 5, 325 mg, number 12, and then some 6 instruction for use. So the question, you need to look at the question they ask, how many tablets should be dispensed? So you need to pay attention to the number of tablets should be dispensed and look at this and can ignore other information. Calculation number 3. A pharmacist has tablets that contain 0.25 mg of levothyroxine per tablet. The tablets will be crushed and mixed with glycerol and water to prepare a prescription for a 36-pound child. How many levothyroxine tablets will be needed to compound the following prescription? So you need to know how many tablets you need to crush and to prepare for this one. So this prescription shows you the concentration and the total amount. From the concentration and total amount, you will know how much of the drug you need, and from how much of drug you need, you can recalculate how many tablets you need to use. Calculation example 4. How many milligrams of codeine sulfate will be contained in each capsule? This is the prescription. So the question asks about codeine sulfate will contain in each capsule. You see codeine sulfate 0.6 gram, caffeine 0.15 gram, and other ingredient 1.5 gram. mix and make capsule number 24. So from this prescription, you need to determine this is the amount for 1 capsule or this is the amount for 24 capsule. From that, you can answer the question how many milligram of codeine sulfate. The next one, how many grams of aspirin will be contained in each capsule? Draw the final answer to the nearest 10. So again, in this one, you see it's aspirin 6 grams, but you need to look at this here. This is a formulation for 20 capsule or for 1 capsule. You need to look back to the definition, abbreviation, and have the right answer. Also, any logical thinking still can be helpful for you to have the right decision. And after you know that, you can know the amount of aspirin in milligram or gram, and then you transfer the unit, convert the unit into gram. And after you have converted, make sure that you round to the nearest 10. Calculation number 6. What is the concentration in ratio strength of a titration made by combining 150 mg of albuterol sulfate and 4.05 gram of lactose? So the question asking you about ratio strength, so you need to remember the concept of ratio strength. Ratio strength is something like 1 over something. So that the concept or the key you need to remember before you have the right answer. Calculation number 7. What are the amounts of API and lactose needed for the following prescription, knowing that 1 extra capsule is added to compensate for the loss when compounding? So again, you look at the API, the amount of API and lactose. Lactose is a QS 180 milligram. So to calculate the amount of lactose, you need to use 180 milligrams subtract 50 milligram. And then you need to decide this is a formula for 1 single capsule or for 5 capsule. Remember what we learned to have the right decision. After you know this, you can calculate the amount that needed. However, remember there's one extra, because like instead of making 5, you need to calculation enough for 6. So then you need to increase the ingredient for each API and lactose proportional to 6 capsule. Now we go to more complex example. Is a case number 1. This is a prescription for 1 capsule. Theophylline 118 milligram, heparin sulfate 24 mg, phenobarbital 8 mg. Dispense caps number 6, something instruction for use. The question is that what diluent will you recommend for the capsule? Why? Any concern for the recommended diluent? So based on the concept, you need to, in this here, all of them are the APIs. And in order to make enough volume to make in a capsule shell, you need to increase the volume by using some diluent. So what diluent you recommend for the patient and state the reason why, and any concern for the diluent that you recommend. The next question, how many milligrams of phenobarbital is needed for the prescription, knowing that 1 extra capsule is added to compensate for the loss. So after you need to look at this is the amount, and you need to decide this is the formula for only 1 capsule or for 6 capsule. And then after that, you calculate the amount of phenobarbital needed for the prescription. And because here you dispense 6 capsules, so you need to add 1 to compensate for the loss. That means the amount you calculated for phenobarbital should be enough for 7 capsules. How to write on formulation record with the following information: name, strength, dosage form of the preparation. The name here you use API name, the strength of each one. So for the strength of capsule, remember each capsule is a unit dose. So how you write the strength, you will think about this the whole amount or percentage or concentration. And dosage form is all apparently that oral capsule. When should the latest time that the preparation be discarded, knowing that it was compounded on August 25, 2020? Now we go back to beyond use day. With the case of dosage form here, you need to decide what's the beyond use day and what the time, then you recalculate for the date. Case number 2. You have the prescription like that and write name, strength, dosage form of the preparation. So the name is the name of API, the strength of each API, and dosage form, this one. Practically, how many milligrams of acetaminophen, diphenhydramine, atropine, and caffeine would be prepared, knowing that one extra capsule is added to the loss to compensate for the loss. You also know that the balance available in your lab has a sensitivity of 10 milligram and 5% error is allowed for the use of balance. So for this one, you need to go back to minimum weight quantity to see what's a minimum weight quantity for this balance, and then you will suggest the appropriate weight of each ingredient. What diluent should be used and why? So again, you go to the concept, what diluent should you recommend, and state the reason. Case number 3. You had a prescription. You are asked to write name, strength, and dosage form. So name again is the API, strength of each API. And dosage form is used here, capsule. What's the role of peanut oil? So in this here, what's peanut oil is used for? And then question C. C is mostly about minimum weighable quantity. You need to determine the minimum weighable quantity of each balance, and then you have select the right selection. Question D. What's the weight of peanut oil for compounding 50 capsules? And the final weight of each capsule, knowing that peanut oil has a density of 0.919 gram per milliliter. So in this case, you have the density. You need to think about convert to the same unit if you want to subtract something. So you need to convert something weight to volume or volume to weight, so you can have the same unit. What should we do with the excess remaining after the 30 capsules are filled? So in this case, like you are asked to dispense 30 capsules, but because to compensate for the loss, you ask something more. So what you do with the extra one? In summary, the process of compounding capsules consists of various steps, from firstly receiving and validating the compounding prescription until the final step of completing the compounding record. Selection appropriate excipients for compounded capsules is important. Fillers, diluents are crucial in making capsules. Appropriate capsule sizes are selected based on capsule's capacity, powder density, purpose of use, etc. Rule of 7 can be roughly used for size screening. Selection of capsule size is compromised. Loose packed capsules are better for bioavailability. Compounded capsules need appropriate label. Size and color of capsules also need to be included in the prescription order and compounding record. Ingredients in compounded capsule can have different functions. Capsule weight includes the weight of capsule shell and weight of API and excipients. Weight of powder is equal to the weight of API and weight of excipients. In compounding capsules, calculation and correct interpretation of the prescription orders is very important. That's all for today's lecture. If you have any question, please email me or come to see me in my office hours. Also, after this slide, you will see the answer key and solution for the practice calculation and case study in this lecture. Thank you for your attention.